Hi friends, welcome to my channel Chic and Savvy, where we talk about all things relating to planning and budgeting. My name is Carissa, and today we will be setting up my finance planner for the month of June. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so first let's go ahead and take out our monthly decorations, and we're gonna replace it with this. So I get these from my Planner Envy subscription box, and I just throw them in here just as a splash of color. But she did include this tulip paper clip, so we're gonna use that. Let's see. Perfect. All right, that's a little splash of color, something cute for the summertime. So let's go ahead and flip to June. So we have all of our pages in here already, and we have first our financial goals. So I'm gonna fill this out off camera with my husband, and then I'll update you guys when we do our budgeting video on what those goals are for the first week of June, or our first paycheck. And then the next page is our calendar. So this is the same theme as my calendar or my dashboard in my lifestyle planner. So I get this from LittleBirdieCanada, and the theme is like this cute ice cream or sweet treats theme. And I already colored it in, so we're going to be filling out this calendar today. And then we have our budget overview for the month, so we'll be filling this out as well. And then we have all of my paycheck planner sheets and my cash envelope breakdown sheets. And then the very last page is our savings tracker. So we're going to be filling out those pages today. So let's go ahead and start with our calendar. First, we're going to start with labeling the calendar. And I have my really old sticker book that I got off of Amazon years ago. If you guys have any recommendations on getting a sticker book like this, I would love to know, but I'll probably be doing that. I have a lot of these left, but the color variety isn't that great. So that's what I'm looking for, is just more color. So we're going to go ahead and start, and let's go ahead and see. So we'll probably have to do pink because I don't have a purple. Let's just use the light pink. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. So we'll start with that, and then I'm gonna label all of these. So the first was on Sunday. We are going to be doing our budget a little bit differently because we did discuss what we wanted to do moving forward, because we do want to try to buy a house at the end of the year. That's our goal. And with doing that, we had to think seriously about what our financial budget looked like as far as saving money and paying off debt. So we decided that we wanted to keep $1,000 in our emergency fund, and then throw any other extra money towards savings, or not savings, I'm sorry, throw any extra money at debt, because we do have quite a bit of debt, and that is kind of bringing us down with wanting to get our house payment to be a certain amount and our loan. So we are going to try to pay off as much debt as we can before we jump the gun with getting a new house, but we also want to move at the end of this year. So our current living situation is we live with my parents, and there's no issues with living with my parents. We're super grateful that they've allowed us to live here, and we don't live here for free. We do pay my parents money every month to help with groceries and stuff like that. So we just want a place of our own. We decided to move out of our rental house and then move here, and then right after we moved here we decided to get married, so everything kind of happened really quick. So we haven't lived together while being a married couple, and on top of that we want to start a family, so we just think it's best. We want our own space, and we want to try to just find our first starter home. So I have the calendar filled out, and then the next step that we have is we dedicate a color to each paycheck. So I have those colors here, and I use the colors that I used to color in the dashboard in this calendar, and these are those colors, and that's what I'm going to use to fill out our calendar. So the first color is this lighter brown, and that is going to represent paycheck 1. And then we have this darker pink color, and that is going to represent paycheck 2. And because me and my husband just get paid on opposite schedules, we just budget weekly because we get a paycheck weekly. And so paycheck 3 is this purple color. So we're going to do paycheck 3. And then this dark brown color is paycheck 4. So we have 2 extra colors, but we're only going to get 4 paychecks this month. So those will be the colors that we use. So our first paycheck is on the 6th. So we're going to take the light brown color, and we're going to do this. And then we're going to go ahead and put our pay date here. Perfect. And then the next one is on the 12th. That's my paycheck, and it's in this dark pink color. And so we're gonna take another there. And then the next one is the 20th, and that's my husband's. And we're gonna color that with the purple. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just whatever whatever you need to do. I used to be a perfectionist, or I kind of still am, but I've learned, I did it on the wrong date. I've learned to have a little bit of grace with myself and tell myself things aren't gonna be perfect. Because if I don't, I'll freak out like this. But nothing a little whiteout can't fix. Good as new. Okay, so purple is on the 20th. And put that here. And then mine is on the 26th, and that is the dark brown. So I probably should have chose a lighter color. But it's okay. Perfect. And so we can put this back. I'm just gonna put this back in its little thing. This is the first time I ever bought any stickers from her, and I actually really like this, and I think it's gonna work for my setup. So that's exciting. Okay, so now that we know when our pay dates are and we've designated a color for each, we're gonna go ahead and write our bills on the dates that they're due, and then we're gonna highlight the bill based off of when we're gonna pay that and with which paycheck. Now we can distinguish which bills are gonna get paid with which paycheck. You can do this a couple different ways. I know some people, they will just pay anything that falls within that period. You can certainly do it that way. I do it for the most part, but I like to have money to save kind of the same amount in each paycheck. And if I just paid like everything that was above this, that could be a lot more than I would be paying the second week where there's not really that much. So it just depends on how you want to do it. And I also have to consider my variable expenses also, because that can cost a lot. That's like any spending money, the money I paid to my parents, our eating out money, and it's just stuff like that. So I kind of have to see visually what it looks like to know how much all of these things are. So I kind of already predetermined what that is, but for the sake of the video, I'm just gonna go ahead and highlight what I already know I'm gonna pay with those paychecks. But I do look at my budget as a whole first. I do have an Excel sheet and I see how much those bills are, and then I kind of spread out the bills and determine which paycheck I'm gonna use to pay for them. So let's go ahead and do that. So for the first paycheck of June, which is the 6th, we are gonna take this highlighter or marker in that lighter brown color, and we are gonna pay my husband's Verizon bill. So we're gonna highlight the ones that we're paying, and we're gonna pay the PlayStation Plus subscription, and we're going to pay UNISA, the Fed loan, and the city, our bank card. So that's what we're gonna use this paycheck to pay. Now, I'm gonna write in this blue, last paycheck of May. So I used our last paycheck of May to pay for Apple, Microsoft, and True West, because those bills were before our first paycheck of June and they needed to be paid. These ones have a little bit more leniency, so I knew I could use our first paycheck to pay for those, but these ones are automatic and they need to be paid. So I budgeted paying those with our last paycheck of May. So I can kind of show you what that looked like on our calendar. And that was right here. So our last paycheck was on the 29th, and those bills are right here, and they're colored in that same color. So I knew that I was going to use that paycheck to pay for those bills. So we have that. And then I'm going to pay with this paycheck on the 6th. Anything in that lighter brown color, we're going to use that paycheck to pay for those. So the next one is in our pink color, and we are gonna pay for Canva Pro, EOS, PenFed, and our USAA. These 4 bills are going to be paid using that paycheck. And then purple is our 3rd paycheck. And we are going to use that to pay for our debt program and Planner NV. And this is a bigger bill, so that's why I try to separate this out from other things, because this is a really big bill in itself. So we're going to use that to pay for those. And then our last paycheck is in that dark brown color, and we are going to use that to pay for the Fed loan, the Discover card, Webtoon, and Cox, my Verizon bill, and Crunchyroll. So also I should have made note that we have to also take into consideration when the next paycheck is. So here I'm going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the next month, because some of our bills are due. So like on the 1st, we have Unisa, Apple, and Microsoft. And we have True West. And then we don't have anything on the 3rd or the 4th. And then right here we have our Verizon for my husband. So the next payday isn't going to be until the 4th. So any of the bills before the 4th also need to be paid. So we are gonna also use this brown to color in Apple, Microsoft, and True West. So like I said, Unisa has a little bit of grace, so I'm going to use that paycheck on the 4th to pay for that. So we're not going to pay that bill, but we do have to pay these other bills too. Okay, so I don't have anything for that pink color, but that's fine. So this is what our calendar is looking like. So if this is a little confusing, I'm sorry, but this is the way I budget my bills, and I just like to do it in color coding, so that way when I do my budget for that week, I know exactly what I'm going to write on my page to pay for. So now that this is ready and ready to go, we can go ahead and do our budget overview. So I'm going to take my little bookmark out so it doesn't get in the way, and now we can write how we're going to budget for the month. I like to have a monthly overview just so I can see what all of the numbers look like, and I kind of already know how much we're going to have to save with and how much we're going to need a budget for bills. So I like to start with our income. So we're each getting 2 paychecks, and my husband gets his paycheck first. Altogether, that is $5,130. Okay, so next we can fill out our fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are any bills that you have that come out every single month, and they're a fixed amount. So that is your rent, your mortgage, your car payment, your electric bill, your water bill, your gas bill, any subscriptions that you have, phone bill, anything like that would be a fixed expense. Now, debt would also be considered a fixed expense, but I do like to track debt separately, so I do have a separate section for that. So we're going to write all of our bills here. And also, I make my own sheets myself on Canva. I don't sell them or anything. I just kind of make them for me because I like to do my budget in a certain way. And I just found it easier to just make my own, so that way I can customize how I do it. But you do not need sheets like this to start out with budgeting. I started out on a piece of paper, and I would just write exactly this information on a notepad sheet, and then I would just track it like that. Or I even still track on Excel because I'm crazy and I like to have both, but you can track it however you want to track it. I think the point of it is just having a budget set for yourself and actually tracking that stuff, no matter how you do it. So let's go ahead and add that up. So it's 19, 11, 127, 20, 15, 2650, 373, 11, 70, 80, 11, 32. So am I missing anything? Oh, I am. I like to put a fee that I'm charged for the program that we're in, and that is 35 plus 35. Okay, so that is 8, 30, 50. Perfect. So let's go ahead and do our debt. And that is 1,074. So the last thing is our variable expenses. So we can get rid of this. And this is anything that is considered still an expense, but it can depend on how much you want to spend. So that's like groceries, gas, spending money, fun money, anything of that sort would be a variable expense. So this is like something that I track from my wallet or things that I pay out. So that's 1,000, 100, 50, 120, 45, 120, 50, 200, 120, 120, 20, and 120. Oh, I messed this up. This is 200. So plus 100. So that is 2,165. Perfect. So now we can add up what all of these amounts are, and then we can determine how much we're going to be able to save. So we'll take our income minus our fixed expenses minus our variable expenses minus our debt. So we have $1,060 to put towards savings. So I just like to know what that amount is so I can see like overall how much money we're paying towards each category every single month and how much we can actually put towards some of the goals that we have. So this will be towards extra debt because that's our big goal, and then towards our house, and then towards any other sinking funds and savings challenges that we have. So like I'll show you what last month's looked like once I filled it out. I don't know if I filled it out all the way, but I will show you what that looks like. So last month, this was our calendar, and then here is our budget. So I still have to fill out some amounts here and here. And then, oh, I wrote left in, that's actually smart to write. So I'll go ahead. So last month, because we had those extra paychecks, we had a lot more left over to save. Let me see if we did it for the month before. So it looks like we had kind of what we're going on now of what it would typically look like to save, which was 1,240 in April. So we are definitely on that same track. So let's go ahead and write that number in. So perfect. Okay, so we actually are all good to go. We have our calendar ready to budget. We have our budget overview just so we can keep track. And everything looks like it's good to go, guys. So I hope that this helps in showing what it looks like for me and how my mind works and how I like to budget our finances. And I would love to know what you guys do. And if you can see anything in the way that I budget that may be helpful, and some ideas. But thank you all for being by my side throughout this journey, and I can't wait to see where life takes us. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye, friends.